Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of the Eleusinian Society. Well, it's my favorite time of year again, and if you think I'm talking about summer, you're dead wrong. I'm talking about that wonderful time when Midwest families haul all their junk into the garage and put stickers with very low prices on them, and usually a couple treasures make it into that mix. Well, I was fortunate enough recently to come across a garage sale that had a true gem. What I am talking about is a movie that was made back in 2000 by this guy right here. For the rest of the video, I'll be calling him AJ because I don't think the YouTube people want me talking about him a whole lot. But I've always wanted to watch this film because I've heard a lot of things about it. I've had people say, oh my gosh, you need to watch this film, it's crazy.
We're gonna hang out. Watch a movie, take some pictures.
And I've talked about the content of this film in another one of my videos, the top 10 secret societies. If you haven't checked out that video, go check it out, especially the last section where I talk about this group. It'll give you a little bit more context before we watch the movie. I figured, well, my creative juices have been a little off lately, that I would try something different. So I guess I'm going to be doing a movie review today. So strap in and here we go. Enjoy the movie. I think the music really kind of sets the tone.
I'm Alex Jones, and I'm a radio and television host.
Oh, there's the man. There's the man right there. He looks so young. Like, I guess multi-million-dollar lawsuits really kind of do you in. All right, so I'll kind of explain a little bit. So the beginning part, he kind of goes through the history of what Bohemian Grove is, how he's going to go about it. So I'll just kind of sum it up. Basically, a group of world elites meet every year in Monte Rio, California, at a place called Bohemian Grove. And there's a lot of very famous, well-known people that attend every year, and it's said that a lot of important decisions throughout the world have happened within the confines of this place during a 2-week session every summer during July. So one of the things was like the Manhattan Project with the atomic bomb. Another thing was that in 1964, I believe it was, Reagan and Nixon were both there, but they both had not become president yet. They were just like, I'm going to climb the social ladder until we get to where we want to be kind of thing. So for like a solid 5 minutes, he goes talking by himself in his nice brown suit and tie about how he teamed up with the BBC, with some radio stations, some news stations, and it was kind of like led by some members of the CIA. Not sure how much of that is accurate. I mean, I'm assuming there's some truth to it, but we do know that some British news journalists were very much so involved with it because they make an appearance in a out of all places in like a hotel room, and they're joking around about what's going to happen. You just gotta like love that 2000s like Alex Jones hair. Like, man, that the locks of hair that man used to have. I also love the parts where he's like going through TSA and he's like, oh, look at, I'm going on a plane. Like, he put way too much detail into his experience at the airport.
Northern California, home to the giant sequoia redwoods. From there north to Santa Rosa.
And of course, it's in California. Everything crazy happens in California.
Well, here we are in Northern California, right outside the Bohemian Grove.
Now, come on. Did he have to eat the blackberry? Like, really? Like, was that necessary? Was that necessary?
Yeah.
And of course, it's on Bohemian Highway. Yeah, way to be covert, guys.
Well, here we are, folks. turning on to the Bohemian Highway in Bohemian Grove. We're going to find out what in the New World Order is going on here. Did you get that, Hanson?
No, I tell you, it's beautiful out here during the day, but it is spooky at night. I don't know if you guys got some footage of it, but all the fog and the rest of it.
I really want to check into some maps and things, and I'm willing. I mean, hiking into 2,700 acres is not too hard. We need to get into the woods. We need to insert ourselves. We need to catch these people at their business. The old Cremation of Care, their little Moloch or Maloch or Maloch's worship. I'm joking. That's a well, they're spies, aren't they? I'm not going to end up with it. I'm not going to end up tied down on a pentagram with Henry Kissinger's fat belly hanging over while he's naked with a big dagger, am I? Or like Governor Bush running around in a pink tutu, foaming at the mouth with a purple wig on, am I?
Okay, no matter like where you see him on like the political spectrum, you gotta admit that AJ is he's just a funny guy. Like, you just like some of the stuff that comes out of this man's mouth is just like so funny.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay.
But like a lot of times he's like saying it in like a serious way, but it's just like very funny the way that he says it. You know, a lot of it, you know, it could be something like, you know, the pink unicorn ran across the field, and he'd be like, the pink unicorn ran across the field. Oh yeah, he meets with the locals. Get some pretty interesting people there.
How you doing, sir? Okay. Camp Meeker? Yeah. Oh, I'm Alex Jones. I make documentaries. I'm just curious.
What do you think about Bohemian Grove?
I used to work there.
He used to work there. So this man must really have it out.
Did you ever watch the Cremation of Care?
No.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Come on, he saw it. This man saw it. He totally did.
What'd you do at the...
I just worked there.
But, I mean,
Yeah.
you never saw him march around in the red robes? And
No.
Oh, really? That doesn't go on?
Yeah, he's walking away. Yeah. He's like, don't.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
Okay, bye.
What have you guys heard about Bohemian Grove?
His face got real serious real quick. He's like, don't talk to me. Don't do it.
Oh, yeah?
So what have you heard about the...
Oh, I just read stuff about it in the paper. I don't know. Some people don't like it. They protested or something weird.
But what about the 40-foot stone owl and the mock human sacrifice? You say you heard something about that?
Well, just what I read about in the paper.
Oh, the paper admitted that.
Well, no, I don't know if they admitted it.
Why does this look like a scene from Twilight? Like Jacob's driving and he's got it like Edward in the passenger seat. More surfer version. Edward Cullen and Owen Wilson had a child.
You don't know.
What would you say if we told you that they sacrificed a human in effigy in mock to a 40-foot stone owl in black and red and silver cloaks?
Sounds kind of different.
Do you think it's good to have...
Bull talks down.
Do you think it's good to have so-called world leaders secretly engaging in pagan activities?
I can't say it's that great, no.
He sounds like Bill Clinton.
They run around naked.
Run around naked and freak out. There you go.
Have you heard that?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, to tell you the truth, here's a funny story.
Slim fucking shady.
Yes.
And we were down the road, and we were stopped there because we were just having a cigarette, hanging out, taking a break, and some Secret Service men actually pulled up behind us and asked us what we were doing, why we were there. It was true. They were like, "What are you guys doing? Where are you at? Why are you parked here? What's going on?"
Oh, and you got like Damian Marley.
I don't know. We always hear there's like big, fat, rich guys with prostitutes there.
Really?
Yeah.
What about the owl and the rituals?
I don't know anything about it.
Never heard about the rituals?
Rituals.
Ritual
nothing.
killing of a human sacrifice of a human?
Nope. Never heard of
What
it.
would you...
This man doesn't even know where he is. How can you ask him that question?
The Bohemian Grove is a wonderful place.
It's a wonderful place. It's filled with fairies and butterflies. And definitely not, you know...
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been in there a bunch of times.
What'd you do, work there? Or
Worked there, yeah. Yeah. It's, you know when it's the most wonderfulest time? Is when nobody's there.
So they know. Like, they know what's going on. The locals are down. Well, maybe not down with it, but they're in the know. God, I love the music. It just reminds me of an old Charleston Heston film, like the Ten Commandments. Alex Jones shaving everyone. That is the shot they went with.
Well, you've got to go in up the road that says no through road, because we've got to sit in the car and get a shot of you going up the road. So you've got to go in. You've got to be the guinea pig. But you're a brave man, Alex, aren't you?
No problem, yeah.
So that's cool. I wouldn't ask a man who wasn't as brave as you.
All right, it's no big deal.
You gotta admit, it does take balls. Like, he set this whole thing up as like, oh, the world's elites, the most powerful people in the world, presidents, politicians, musicians, actors, and he's just like, yeah, I'll risk my life to go in there. Like,
oh, so you're gonna go in way before Rick gets here?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Well, cool. Well, we'll just sit in the car.
But I mean, you understand why? Not because I want to hang out in there all day. It's because I've got to get in. Because if they catch me, then I'm gonna got to sneak back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I will not be stopped.
love or hate the guy, you really gotta like give it to him for even attempting to do this.
All of this connects
it kind of defeats the motive of it just being a tie and a paycheck.
Doesn't it? But the whole thing is that, I guess, if you have it all inside your bag because you've got...
Yeah, it's really only about like that.
God, to think of like all the technology that we can fit in our pocket now. Like they were walking around with wires hanging out of a backpack.
It was the night of July 15th, 2000. Mike Hansen and I were about to attempt the first ever successful infiltration of the Bohemian Grove. Others have tried and failed. No one has ever actually made it in and out with video evidence. After careful planning, we decided the best tactic would be to insert ourselves the main entrance into the heavily wooded area, entering the gorge by stealth and getting into the main parking area.
Entering the gorge by stealth. You know, Alex Jones is like 5'5". Like, I'm sure he could just George Costanza his way right in there.
From there, we posed as Bohemian Club members.
Why does he look like he works at a zoo? He looks like a zookeeper. That's actually kind of smart, you know, like you see it on movies where like they had the company logo on their shirt and you're like, come on, like would that really work? Well, thanks to AJ, I guess we know the answer to that.
That's also there. That's up there. Boy, it's nice when that cool wind hits you.
Oh, yeah. Man.
I think we may make it.
Okay. Yeah.
They're just going for it. They're running right in.
How much did the road cost?
This thing?
No, the road.
The rope?
The road. The road.
Rope. It was 88.
So I'm not quite sure who this guy is, but he obviously is going to the party. But they get into a car with him, and as they're driving, he talks about some of the logistics of being a member. Okay, so some bagpipes are playing. Interesting. So maybe that's like where the druidic ties come in, because they play a bagpipe.
So that Marty thing was like...
So these are the cabins that they must stay in. Or at least some kind of like shelter, because it looked like there was a sink in there. Those are some like top tier cabins. We didn't have those at scout camp when I was growing up. We had to stay in those green canvas tents, you know, the ones with like the one stick in the middle, and then the rest of it was like suspended by stakes, so it was like pressure set. So if, you know, in the middle of the night somebody kicked that pole, your whole tent was going down. Yeah, we didn't have these, but once again, $20,000 a ticket. There you go.
We don't have time in the documentary to show you an entire tour of the 2,700-acre compound in the middle of the gorge. Besides the fact we didn't even have time to see but about 20% of it, in between dodging security personnel. Unfortunately, we were using digital tapes that were 1 hour. Several of the confrontations were not caught on tape.
if he was to do this like 20 years later or even 15 years later, they could have got so much more footage. But I think because of this documentary, he kind of like tainted anyone else's chances to get in there and record. After him, I'm sure they ramped up security like crazy. But think about that. If you had the ability to have like a lavalier microphone that is like tucked away, or one of those spy cameras that can fit in your sunglasses.
We had sheriff's deputies, Secret Service, you name it, question us on who we were. We just told them we were with the hillbillies. That's where the Bushes stay, because we've got Texas accents.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, there's like different camps for the whole party. So basically people get put in different camps, and repeat people that come every year, they usually stay in the same camp. Just kind of becomes like your group while you're there.
Just one of many signs sporting French with skulls.
Does that say "La suis la fille"? Je suis la fille. That means I am a girl. Or I'm the girl.
We had already been questioned 3 separate times by the Bohemian Club security, Secret Service, and Sonoma County Sheriff's Department. To evade discovery, we decided to try for one of the more remote areas of the camp, according to our map, the most southerly side, and a lookout point, an observation deck over the Russian River. After we turned the camera off, one of the Sonoma County Sheriff's deputies showed up and began asking us why we were filming. We calmly told him we were just sightseeing as members of the Bohemian Club. The point that has to be made here, though, is they do have hidden cameras, because there's no way that they would have been able to witness us videotaping from where the guard shack was located. After escaping the sheriff's department, Mike and I traveled high into the hills to wait until dark and the beginning of the Cremation of Care ceremony.
Okay, so now he's going to go see the owl. The much anticipated owl.
Let's get out of here.
I like that. Okay, so it's not as tall as I thought it was going to be. It looked a lot taller on the pictures.
Here you can see the bottom of the stone owl with the altar and the eternal flame, a Aladdin lamp-style urn that continually burns year-round, we're told. And here's a side shot from about 30 yards away of Moloch, the Canaanite deity to which children were sacrificed to in Babylon.
So basically what he's talking about is Moloch is this kind of deity creature that was put in some Hebrew scripture to kind of act as like an antichrist, basically saying that he leads people astray. But it also says in the scriptures that the laws given to Moses by God expressly forbade the Jews to do what was done in Egypt or in Canaan. And what that means is it forbade them to worship any other god except for the God.
And yet another slowed down close shot. Again, the eternal flame burning, the altar, the bottom extremities of the 40-plus foot stone deity. And there is a shot of its head as well. Again, we've slowed down this video because we only actually had about 5 seconds of it on our hidden cameras, so you can have a chance to get a closer look at it. You will see it during the ceremony. Speaking of the ceremony, we were on the left-hand side of the lake, about 150 yards downstream beneath those large redwood trees.
Okay, so that's why it didn't look as big, because it's next to redwood trees.
Much of the ritual you're going to witness took place on the right-hand side of the lake and at the northern tip beneath Moloch. Keep in mind the scale of the idol compared to those giant redwood trees. It's at least 45 feet tall. Now, the daytime vantage you're witnessing is basically the vantage that we shot the ceremony from at night. This is America, and it's been going on for 120-plus years in Northern California. This is not some new fad. We're talking about something deadly serious with its roots in ancient history.
So it sounds like there's some live music there. I did hear something about them hiring bands or musicians to play by the lakeside, but these don't really look like elites. You know, they just kind of look like your Uncle Joe. Okay, that was a bad thing for me to say, Uncle Joe. All right, I'm gonna skip ahead to the Cremation of Care ceremony. My camera battery's dying, so we'll see what that's all about.
Before the Cremation of Care, all the Bohemian Club members begin a massive feast of revelry. After the feast, cult members travel from the main dining area under the trees out to the eastern side of the lake, where they congregate and prepare themselves to properly thank their deity. Again, the 3,000-plus-year-old Moloch.
Okay.
The occult activities are coming up. And then after the actual ritual, we're going to give you some more of the history surrounding it.
So there's like fireworks going at the statue.
I wanted to draw your attention to the program that was given out to the spectators or the viewers.
The flame is going right to the altar where they said that they sacrifice people.
I guess an occultist would call them novices who actually watched as the priest and their supporters engaged in this ancient rite. Now you're looking at a little demon called PJ that was on the front of the actual program. It's kind of an Hieronymus Bosch style.
I like the nod to Hieronymus Bosch. Good on you, AJ. Good on you. I actually have a painting of Hieronymus Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights on my wall in my living room.
Now, even more shocking is the figure of a human body burning in the flames. In fact, I've shown it to people that are experts in anatomy, to actual doctors, and they say that the anatomical size is that of a baby or small child. Notice how large the cranium is in comparison to the torso, that is the ribs.
All right, a little angle change. So my battery died on my camera, so I kind of had to charge it for a couple hours. Anyway, getting back into the Cremation of Care.
At long last, here it is, the Cremation of Care unveiled.
Gosh, that's a lot of people. That is so many people.
As we sat there in the darkness, not knowing what we were about to see in the gathering crowd, suddenly, across the small lake, we saw a carriage with men in black and brown cloaks, robes, in front and in back, bearing a bound body. Now, we're about to show you the raw footage. You can see the torches coming out of the woods on the other side of the lake. We're going to show you the whole ceremony without video enhancement. Later, we're going to blow it up for you. Remember, it was a hidden camera and at somewhat of an angle.
Without video enhancement. Like you have a choice with a hidden camera. Oh, the bagpipes are back, though.
Something particularly pleasing was happening for the Bohemian Grovers with whatever developed with that crowd of men in black and brown and the bound body on the back of the buggy. They drove behind big black tarps they had hanging out of the trees. There was lots of smacking on lips of in bizarre enjoyment by the crowd. We still haven't made out exactly what was going on.
Smacking of lips?
But that a real sacrifice may have actually been developing, according to some occult experts. All the time in the darkness across the small lake, the men in black were doing something behind the dark curtains hanging from the redwood trees. Then after about 10 more minutes of music, suddenly, all around the owl, activity began. Here is the main central part of the ritual.
With all the money that goes into this, I sure hope that's a live orchestra.
The owl is in his leafy temple. Let all within the grove be reverent before him. Lift up your heads, O ye trees, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting spires. For behold, here is Bohemian shrine, and holy are the pillars of this house.
Okay, so that's really interesting because you see pillar imagery in Freemasonry, but the fact that they're saying that the redwood trees in California are the pillars for their temple, pretty interesting. I guess my interpretation would be that a spider weaves its web to catch prey. So I guess they're signifying that people with malintent or people who are not a part of the group that are trying to catch the group in some kind of conspiracy don't be there.
Song of birds, such music as inspires the sinking soul, do we invite you into Midsummer's Joy?
Okay, so they invite you to Midsummer's Joy. Midsummer, of course, being a druidic pagan holiday. The Druids were known, at least in Roman accounts, to burn the Wicker Man at their Midsummer festivals, so interesting.
Shake off your sorrows with the city's dust, and cast to the winds the cares of life. Let memory bring back the well-loved names of gallant friends who knew and loved this grove. Dear boon companions of the long ago.
Boon companions.
Gather, ye forest folk, and cast your spell over these mortals.
So this has definitely got some like druidic imagery and themes.
It is a dream.
It was all a dream.
As vanished Babylon and goodly Tyre, so shall they also vanish.
Okay, so they mentioned Babylon. There you go.
But the wilding rose blows on the broken battlements of Tyre, and walks rends the stones of Babylon. For beauty is eternal, and we bow to beauty everlasting.
So I guess the introduction to the ceremony, the Cremation of Care, goes on for a little while, so I'm going to skip ahead just to save us some time here.
By the power of your fellowship, dull care is slain.
Pretty sick music, though, I'm not gonna lie. Fools! This is some Disney villain acting right here.
When will ye learn that me ye cannot slay? Year after year ye burn me in this grove, lifting your puny shouts of triumph to the stars.
I love how there's like, 2,000 people there and like 10,000 frogs all like talking at the same time.
Not with these flames, which hither ye have brought from regions where I reign. Ye fools and priests, I spit upon your fire.
That was pretty theatrical. The fire coming down.
Begone, dull care. Fire shall have its will of thee. Begone, dull care. And all the winds make merry with thy doubts.
Pretty.
In the Hall of the Mountain King, is that necessary? Edward Gregg would be like shaking in his grave.
Well, we're going to confront George Bush on Bohemian Grove. George Bush Jr. They've been announcing on CNN, MSNBC, on television last night and today. For the first time in history, they're admitting it, why the vice presidential decision was made at Bohemian Grove.
So I guess we'll just cut to the end of the video. So AJ decides to take it to the streets with a megaphone, and he shouts at traffic and says, "Oh, this is what your president is doing. This is George Bush right here. This is what he looks like." And it's just like some person dressed up like a cheaply made Voldemort. Like they got a mask on that vaguely resembles George Bush.
I want to make it clear that I'm neither Republican nor Democrat. But the facts speak for itself. George Bush Sr., Jr., even their grandfather Prescott Bush were all members of the Bohemian Club.
We got them on tape. This is how they dress up, right here, in red and black robes. A little more pointy, though, like the Klan. Long live the Constitution and death to the New World Order.
Yeah, AJ definitely has like the, he's got the demeanor of like a Southern Baptist pastor. Like he's very passionate when he talks. And that's the film. So hopefully you enjoyed our little review. I know it's not our regular type of media that we put out there. But if you liked it, comment, like, share. We'd appreciate it a lot if you'd help us out and help us grow this channel, because that's ultimately going to help us get to where we need to be. So thank you for joining us on another edition of the Ellisonian Society.